Hi, welcome to Algebra 1. We're going to look at equivalent expressions today. When you're answering questions where you're trying to find two expressions that are equivalent, you can use your graphing calculator to help you. Notice these are called expressions, not equations, because generally they're not going to have an equal symbol in there. And so we just want to know which of these four expressions is the exact same as this. So there's a couple different methods. The method they're probably going for here is to factor out and see what goes into both 35 and 63 that I can pull out. What is our lowest common or our common factor that I can pull out? And if you can factor it out, then you'd find your result. If you have a hard time with factoring, then your second option is you could distribute your 7 back in, and then you can see which one, or your -7 or your 7m in, and see which one gets you back to where you have 35m squared minus 63. And then a third option, which is what I'm going to show you today, is we can put this first equation or expression into y equals in our graphing calculator on a graph, and then we can graph each one of these on top of it until we find one that lands exactly matching. So let me show you that. So if I grab myself a graphs page, I'm going to graph this 35, let me get a highlighter. I'm going to graph this 35m squared minus 63. So 35m, I'm going to use an x because we're graphing and it won't graph m's, x squared minus 63. And so I can see my graph. It kind of looks like two vertical lines. I know because it has a square, it's a parabola. So I know it's really U-ing somewhere down at the bottom. Okay. So I'm going to graph this next equation here, A, and see if it lands exactly on top of these two lines. So let's look at what that looks like. I'm going to hit tab, and I'm going to type in 7 parentheses 5. Instead of m, I'm going to use x squared minus 9. And when I hit enter, you can see it put that red graph right on top of that blue graph. And if you're not 100% sure if they're exactly matching, you can hit Control T and you can look at your two lines. Although it's kind of hard on this screen to do it. I don't know if it'll let me drag it over. Oh, it will. Okay, so you can see that everywhere as I scroll down, my x's and my y's are the same for every single x everywhere I go. Okay, so that tells me that that first graph, or that first graph, the first equation or expression that I graphed is the same expression as 35m squared minus 63. So what's kind of nice is that means I don't even have to try the other four. I know that A is the correct answer. Let's try that. Oops, I don't know why that scrolled down or why that moved down. I don't want y'all to think that was B if you go back and look. All right, there we go. All right, let's try number 2. So I'm going to do the exact same process. I'm going to start with a fresh graph. So I'm just going to hit Control and Page so I can start with a fresh graph. And I'm going to type in 9n squared minus 25. 9, I'm not going to use n, I'm going to use x squared minus 25. Okay, kind of looks a lot like the last one, so you might think they all look the same. But let's check this one and see if this works. So I'm going to get myself another graph by hitting tab. Let me move my cursor off of there. There we go. And parentheses 3. Instead of an n, I'm going to use x minus 5, close parentheses, and there's a little square there, so squared. When I hit enter, you can see that that new purple graph and that original black graph, they are not the same graph, right? So A is not my correct answer for this one. Let's try B. So I'm just going to open up that F4 again because I don't need that to still be graphed. I know that's not right. I'm going to do parentheses 3x instead of n plus 5, close parentheses, open parentheses, and then 3n minus 5. I'm going to do 3x minus 5, close parentheses, and then I'm going to graph it, and I can see that that purple graph now moved. It's exactly on top of that black graph. If you're not sure, you can always hit Control T, and you can check your graphs and see that they really do match every single place along the X and Y axis. Okay? I went really far. Okay? All right, so B is my correct answer for this one using my table. All right, let's look at this last one, number 3. Which expression is equivalent to? I'm going to do the exact same process. I'm going to hit Control, get myself a fresh graph page. So I'm using 3 different pages for the 3 different problems, and that's okay. You can open up as many pages as you need to. I'm going to type in x squared plus 10x plus 24. Okay, so there's my graph that I'm trying to match. Move that equation out of the way. I'm trying to match that graph right there. Let's start with this first one. Oops, I need to hit tab to get my equation. Parentheses x plus 1, close parentheses, open parentheses, x plus 24. Close parentheses. And when I graph it, oh, nope, that's not going to be, those are not going to be the same graphs. So A is not going to be my correct answer. Let's try B. So I'm just going to open that same graph again. Okay, this time we have x plus 2 and x plus 12. And let's see if that matches. It got closer. It moved a little to the left, but nope, it still didn't match. So now we're going to try x plus 4, x plus 6. X plus 4, x plus 6. Let's see where that gets us. There we go. Now that orange graph moved right on top of that green graph. I can't even see the green graph anymore. You can check by looking at your table that those two really do match everywhere I look. Everywhere I look, my y values will have the same answers because these two expressions are equivalent. They are equal to each other. So my correct answer for 3 is C. Okay, so hopefully those calculator tips help when you're trying to find equivalent expressions. If you have any questions, make sure you check with your teacher or your tutor.